Good day, everyone. In this topic, we will discuss the basic concept and principles of intellectual property protection. What is intellectual property? Intellectual property is a category of property that includes the intangible creation of human intellect. Refers to the creation of mind, such as literary and artistic works, design, symbols, names, and images used in commerce. Once a work is registered under the intellectual property, it allows the owner to have exclusive rights and protection. In the Philippines, intellectual property is guided by the Republic Act No. 8293, known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. Section 2 of RA 8293 states that the state recognizes that an effective intellectual and industrial property system is vital to the development of domestic and creative activity, facilities and transfers of technology, attracts foreign investments, and ensure the market access of product. It is clear that intellectual property is recognized and given importance for its contribution to individual and the whole country as well. Intellectual property rights in RA 8293 is consist of copyright and related rights, trademarks and service marks, geographical indications, industrial designs, layout, design and integrated circuits, patents, and protection of undisclosed information. These intellectual property rights will be discussed later.
Good day, everyone. My name is Faye Padernal, and I will be discussing Intellectual Property Office or IPO. To start, what is intellectual property? Intellectual property or IP is a category of property that includes intangible creation of human mind intellect. So, in other words, it refers to the creation of human mind. It could be invention, design, brand, song, or poetry, and many more. It is a product of human mind or intellect that is protected by the law from an authorized user. So this law is also known as Republic Act number 8293, known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. It is consists of the intellectual rights. So these are the rights of RA 8293, copyright and related rights, trademarks and service marks, geographical indication, industrial designs, patents, layout designs of integrated circuits, and protection of undisclosed information. So for example, in copyright, in simple term, it's the right to copy. So ang may right lang or authorization to reproduce the work is someone that is given permission by the original creator. Like for example, sa mga books, 'di ba? In our library, we are not allowed na maka-photocopy lang basta-basta because that is under sa law na RA 8293 sa intellectual property rights. So sa mga trademarks, so these are the logos which represent or denotes a certain products or certain company. For example, kanang 'di ba Adidas, ang logo sa Adidas, it cannot be used by other na dili na nila pwede i-apply pa para ma-own na nila na logo since existing na siya. And naga-denote siya og certain brand. If ever nga na ay magkuha na dili na sila sugdan, and if i-push na nila possible na makasuhan sila. So mga patents karang as an inventor ka, pwede ka mag-register of patent. So these are the rights, no, very broad siya. So if naatay law, if there is law, of course na ay mga pamalakadana, and that is the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines. So it helps to administer and implement the state's policies declared in RA 8293. So these are the functions of the said office. First is It examines application for grant of letter patent for invention and register utility models and industrial design. Examine application for the registration of marks, geographical indication, integrated circuits, register technology transfer, arrangement, and settle dispute involving technology transfer payment covered by the provisions of RA 8293 Part 2 Chapter 9 on voluntary licensing, and develop and implement strategies to promote and facilitate technology transfer, promote the use of patent information as a tool for technology development, publish regular publication, the patent, mark utility models and industrial design issues and approve and technological transfer arrangement registered and administratively adjudicate contested proceeding affecting intellectual property rights and coordinate with other government agency and private sectors efforts to formulate and implement plans and policies to strengthen the protection of intellectual property rights in the country. So to summarize or to make it short and more understandable, the said office is responsible firstly jud sa mga pag-administer sa mga laws na under sa RA 8293, which is katong mga related sa intellectual properties like I've mentioned kanina sa mga karang copyrights, mga trademarks, mga patents like that sa mga books, di ba? And also responsible sila sa mga registration like if naay magpa-register sa mga business logo, mga trademarks na gusto nila i-own para dili na magamit sa iban. So sila pod ang responsible ana. So mao na ang function usually jud sa office, and that would be all, or IPO. That would be all. Thank you.
Hello guys, I'm Christopher Polinarin and I will present you the intellectual property rights. So let's do the next slide. So intellectual property rights is that an effective intellectual and industrial property system is vital to the development of domestic and creative activity, facilitates transfer of technology, attracts foreign investments, and ensures market access for our products. So it shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, inventors, artists, and other gifted citizens to their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the other people, for such period as provided in this act. So in the next slide, we will see the patent. So patent is a form of intellectual property that gives its owner the legal right to exclude other from making, using, or selling an invention for a limited period of years in exchange for publishing and enabling public disclosure of the invention. And in most countries, patent rights fall under private law, and the patent holder must sue someone infringing the patent in order to enforce his or her rights. So in some industries, patents are an essential form of competitive advantage. So in the next slide, we will see the intellectual property code. So in RA or Republic Act 8293, the Intellectual Property Code, so to protect your invention, you may need a patent, trademark, copyright, marketing plan, or trade secrets or some combination of these. So these rules involving a patent uses the revised implementing rules and regulations. So the use of intellectual property bears a social function. The state shall promote the diffusion of knowledge and information to promote of national development and progress and the common good. So it is so also policy of the state to streamline administrative procedures of registering patents, trademarks, and copyright. So to liberalize the registration on the transfer of technology and enhance the enforcement of intellectual property rights in the Philippines. So in the next slide, we will see Universally Accessible, Cheaper, and Quality Medicines Act of 2008. So Republic Act 9502. So it is the policy the state of protect public health and When the public interest or circumstances of extreme urgency so require, it shall adopt appropriate measures to promote and ensure the access of affordable quality drugs and medicines for all. It says that the attainment of this general policy and its effective competitive policy in the supply and demand of the quality of affordable drugs and medicines is recognized by the state as a primary instrument. So, in the event that full of competition is not effective, as that the statement recognized as a reverse instrument the regulations of prices of drugs and medicines. So, with clear accountability with the implementing authority as mandated in this act, also promote, ensure access to quality affordable medicines. So the next slide is the utility model. So the utility model allows the right holder to prevent others from commercially using the registered utility model without the owner's consent or authorization. A utility model could be any technical solution to a certain problem in any given field of human activity defined, a new and industrially applicable. So that's all. By the way, this is my reference of my report, and I hope you learned something, and thank you.
So good day, everyone. So for the continuation of our presentation about the intellectual property, here is the second item that mentioned under the intellectual property, which is the industrial design. Industrial design is another intellectual property right focused on the ornamental or aesthetic aspect. When we say ornamental or aesthetic aspect, it is about the appreciation of the beautification of an object or an item. And the design may be defined as three-dimensional features such as lines, patterns, and colors, or two-dimensional features like shape or surface. Like for example, that is handicrafts, jewelries, and vehicles and appliances. And a register industrial design allows the owner of the right to prevent others from making, selling, or importing articles embodying a design identified to be a copy or substantial copy of the protected design, given such acts undertaken for commercial purposes. Because a lot of artists nowadays are do copying the original artwork. Like for example, you have your own artwork and there is someone who trying to copy your art, but he just do some changes or enhancing the art. So instead of letting them, you should register your industrial design in order to maintain the popularity of your artworks. And the said intellectual property right has a period of 5 years from the date of application filing and may be renewed for not more than two consecutive periods of 5 years. And the third one is a word or is a trademark. Trademark is a word or group of words, a sign or a symbol, a logo, or a combination of the aforementioned that identifies and differentiates the source of the goods and services from others. Source of the goods, like for example, the Adidas, the that comes from the name of its founder, which is Adolf Adi Dassler, and the Louis Vuitton that comes from the name Louis Vuitton. Business register for trademarks because it gives them a competitive advantage. It protects a business identity and in the market. It gives them competitive advantage because trademark able to make your business stand out from your competitors. When customers see a trademark, they can immediately identity who they are dealing with. That's why business register for trademarks is very important. Uh, Trademark's period of protection is 10 years from the date of issuance and is renewable for 10 years at a time and can also be protected in perpetuity if regularly monitored and properly maintained. Thank you.
I am Carla Jaqueta and I'm going to present to you my report about copyrights and trade secrets under intellectual properties. Copyrights, it is a type of intellectual properties that provide distribution, publication, and usage rights of the authors. Copyright is published by someone else without their consent. What can be protected under copyrights? These are literary works, artistic works, cinematograph films, a computer-generated works. Whose rights are protected? Copyright protects the right of the author, like sa literary works is the author, ang cinematograph is the producer, and ang artistic works is the artist. Creators of work protected under copyrights, Chapter 16, Section 213 of the Republic Act 8293 stipulates that if the work is protected by joint ownership, its protection must be the life of the last surviving author plus 50 years. This term of protection also applies to the posthumous works. In the case of joint authorship, the economic rights shall be protected during the lifetime of the work, lifetime of the last surviving author plus 50 years after such author death. Posthumous work, it is something happened to a person after they die. Photographic works are also protected for 50 years from publication and 50 years from making if unpublished. Audiovisual works are protected 50 years from the date of publication and date of making if unpublished. Certain provisions for the above mentioned are provided in Chapter 16, Section 213 of Republic Act 8293. Trade secrets are intellectual property rights on confidential information which may be sold or protected. Sa trade secrets kay ang dirian niya na part is kanang mga confidential information which is limited person lang ang kumbaga nakabalo. What kind of information is protected by trade secret? These are technical information such as manufacturing processes, pharmaceutical test data, design and drawings of computer programs, and commercial information. Example of trade secrets kay like business plan, data process, marketing information, or competitive analysis. What kind of protection does trade secrets offer? Sa unfair competition is like bias, under siya sa wrongful business practice that economically harm. And specific provision is case law on the protection and rule agreements or document agreements, and confidential information is non-public and non-public but business related.